The internet has hit our world in the face like a baseball bat. Being overstimulated and having your dopamine hijacked by the internet is easier than ever, and sitting there for hours and hours on end scrolling on our digital devices and feeling like shit afterwards has never been easier. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the dynamics of digital dopamine overstimulation. I'm going to give you a tool where you can see where you are on the overstimulation dopamine scale so you can know what steps to take. And I'm going to give you an easy step that you can take to take back your focus and become a focus master so you can reach your potential. Digital overstimulation is a new phenomena, and it's very important to know the dynamics of it to know how to successfully dodge it. About 8 years ago, I was sitting in my mother's basement. I was watching YouTube video after YouTube video, just endlessly scrolling on Reddit, just stimulating my mind and frying my brain. I didn't know anything about dopamine or overstimulation, and I came over a video that was explaining how dopamine was a chemical that was supposed to get me to go out into the world, to make friends, to get a girlfriend, to work out, to go for success, and to reach my potential. It was the chemical that was supposed to make me into the person I was meant to be. But that the technological devices around us was using this chemical to hook us, to make us stay on the technology devices. So I was sitting home in my mother's basement instead of going out and grabbing the opportunities of the world. I remember sitting there, and it struck me like a lightning from a clear sky. I was looking out into my messy room, and I understood what was happening. I looked back into my past, and I saw that when I was a kid and I saw my first TV series, I saw my first movie, how excited I was about that little stimulation. How amazing it was to wake up on a Saturday morning and run up and turn on the TV and watch a new episode of Pokemon, and that was it for the rest of the week. And how, as I grew older, the technological devices became more advanced. I started to stimulate myself more, playing games, watching videos, watching more and more TV series, to the point where I was sitting there at 20 years old in my mother's basement and feeling completely numb after watching amazing videos on YouTube. And I understood that I had to take some kind of action to take back the joy that I could feel from going out into the real world. I did not have this back then, but since then I've created a tool so I can diagnose myself and see where I am on the scale of dopamine overstimulation, so I know what steps to take. You see, after I had this realization about the dopamine chemical and all that, I started to take hard action. I just went up and I started to clean my room then and there. I smacked my computer down. I turned off my phone. I put up a schedule in my room where I was gonna wake up early. I was gonna meditate, do yoga, eat healthy, work out, work on my business. And I was gonna take control, not using any technological devices. I put it away and I started to grind. I wanted to make it. I went like that for a day, 2, a week, a month. And on the second month, I was exhausted, and I sat down in my stairs in my house where I was living with my parents, and I just broke down. I couldn't do any of the things that I set up on my schedule. I was completely burned out. I just pulled up my computer and I started to binge watch on YouTube. And I started to go back where I was before I had the realization. And it was devastating because then I also knew what the damage was to myself. And it went on like this for many years, up and down like a yo-yo effect, trying to take action and then just bouncing back. And I realized when I was down in a deep hole that I had to really take charge of this. So I started to study and watch what I was doing when I was feeling overstimulation and when I was feeling like shit. What kind of apps were I using? What kind of stimulation source was this? Was this a movie? Was it a TV series? Was it YouTube? And then I created a system, a dopamine tier list, where I could see where I felt most overstimulated and where I felt the best, where I actually started to feel good. What was the tipping point of feeling overstimulated and feeling like shit, and then feeling really good about myself? And I mapped out this kind of thing where I could see where I was at and what the actions I took. And then I was actually able to do something about it. You see, the easy steps that I'm gonna give you in this video came from this dopamine tier list. When I saw that there were different actions on the internet, not everything was created equal, at least for me. So here's the step that I'm going to give you. Instead of going like me, in a yo-yo effect, up and down, trying to just quit and then do nothing and go out and work out and don't use your phone at all, you have to look at this dopamine tier list and see where you spend most of your time. So let's say you are scrolling a lot on YouTube, watching YouTube videos, short, long ones. You're watching this for some reason, so you are here. Are you on a binge right now? And then you can see on this dopamine tier list where that is. And then when you feel overstimulated, you feel like shit, you feel like you want to take your focus back, then instead of going to the top of the tier list, which is like meditating, reading, working on your business, instead of doing that, you're moving one step up in that tier list. And by doing that, you're actually normalizing your dopamine to a new level. Because when you bounce up, your mind will start to crave it and then you will just fall down the list again. But when you go one step, then you will start to normalize the new baseline level. So let me give you an example of how I do this. Instead, when I find myself scrolling on some mindless application, instead of then putting it down and walking for a long time, I put on a movie and I challenge myself to watch the movie all the way through. And for example, if I'm watching YouTube video after YouTube video, then my mind is being driven by an algorithm, then I choose to rather listen to a history podcast and pay attention to that podcast. So I'm still stimulating my mind, but not as much as the stimulation source from YouTube. So you can download this dopamine tier list in the description below, screenshot it, put it back on your phone and use it to take back your attention and to take back your focus. Because you don't go into the gym and start to lift the heaviest weights straight away. And the same thing is to desensitize yourself from dopamine overstimulation, is to take it step by step, think of it like a muscle and strengthen it over time. I believe in you. I hope you can do this. Good luck. I'm Francis Drake. Subscribe if you want to see me again. And I'll see you in another video. Goodbye.